When was the last time you loaded up a video game and just seeing the title screen and hearing the intro music made you genuinely happy? I'd be willing to bet that for most of you, it's been well over 5 years, if not more. I haven't felt this way about a game in a long time, probably not since Halo 2. I got a similar feeling when Apex first came out, but it's not the same thing, and not really as close to what I felt when I loaded up Halo. XDefiant is that new game for me, and I hope it is for a lot of people. If this game gives you those butterflies in your tummy, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I plan on making a ton of content for this game. The thing I want to talk about in this video though is just how awesome this one single feature is called input-based matchmaking. For a few years now, I've owned a pretty good gaming PC, built with a 2070 Super Intel i9 core and more RAM than I could ever need. I've always had two problems when it comes to gaming on it. My friends play on Xbox primarily because most of them don't have a PC, which causes both of these problems to even exist in the first place. Problem number one, some games aren't crossplay, so I'm forced to play on Xbox to be able to play with them at all. The second problem is that when games are crossplay, me being on PC exposes them to all these sweaty mouse and keyboard gods on these games like Apex and Siege, and just makes the experience not fun. But Ubisoft and XDefiant hit us with the old razzle dazzle and gave us input-based matchmaking, which I didn't even know was a thing. So now I can play on PC and enjoy the insane FPS boost I get, play with my friends, and choose so that we only play against other controller players so long as I'm using a controller on PC. And with them having the Xbox Series X and it being capable of 120 FPS, they're not really at that big of a disadvantage when it comes to frames per second. Now, I hopped on PC today to play this game for the first time since it came out, as I've been playing on console for the last 2 weeks, and it felt good. I didn't feel like there was this crazy skill gap between console play and PC play because of that input-based matchmaking keeping me with other controller players. This feature is something that I didn't even know that I needed. And now that I know it's a thing, I think more games should take advantage of this and put it in all games. Now, off the top of my head, I can't really think of any other crossplay games that have input-based matchmaking. If you know of any, please let me know in the comments. But this feature is an absolute game changer for me, and even for those who want to take advantage of all the benefits you can get from playing a game like this on PC, like higher frames per second, the options to completely customize how you see the game, like shadowing and particle detail, and so much more. But at the same time, maybe you're not the greatest with a mouse and keyboard in your hand. Now, I grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s, so I always had a controller in my hand. Okay, now, mouse and keyboard is still kind of newish to me. You know, I could function, but I'd be worlds better at a game with a controller. Now, this only leaves one issue left to address, and that's these things right here. For those of you who don't have PTSD from playing Siege on console and have no idea what either of these are, I'll explain. On the left is a Cronus Zen, and on the right is a Zim. Now, among other things, these devices basically let you use a mouse and keyboard on console for games that don't support it natively, meaning you can't just plug in your mouse and keyboard into a console and play a game with it. It's essentially spoofing or tricking your console into thinking that you just have a controller plugged into it. Now, why is this an issue? Well, if you couldn't figure it out already, this is allowing people to play this game with a mouse and keyboard and sneak their way into controller lobbies. Now, until they give us kill cams, we won't really be able to see who's doing this, and even when they do, it won't always be blatantly obvious. Siege tried to combat this with their mousetrap anti-cheat, which is still a little finicky, and they're not really implementing crazy bans for when people are detected. In fact, they're not really banning anybody at all. They're kind of just giving them an input delay. Now, of course, everyone's gone out of their way to find workarounds to get around that. So hopefully they get some more funding and they can improve upon this and maybe push it out to more of their games at Ubisoft, and hopefully improve on its detection skills and just make the gaming landscape better overall. Because for all of you people that play on PC, this is the equivalent of speed hacks and aimbot. Now, when you compare the two at face value, you may think, that's crazy, how could you compare the two? Well, console doesn't have to really deal with aimbot and wall hacks, so to speak. So this is just kind of like the thing that most console players do. If you've ever played Call of Duty or Rainbow Six Siege, I guarantee you've gone up against numerous people using one of these devices. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts on this are in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.